Welcome back to Rusty Gears. We're very quickly running out of storage space in our tiny unfinished home with the unfinished basement bar. So today, we're making a tent bag. For those who are unfamiliar with it, the tent bag comes from a mod. It's the thing that Cricket Brit was having a little trouble with last episode.
Did you just...
No!
Now that the server's on 1.20, we've replaced the 3-block tall tent bag with a standalone version that lets us have up to a big old 7-block cube. And that got me thinking, with that much room, we can do anything. We could even do magic. A spell, if you will. A 3rd level spell to be specific. Galder's Tower, 3rd level conjuration spell. Casting time, 10 minutes. Duration, 24 hours. Conjure a 2-story tower made of stone, wood, or similar suitably sturdy materials. Try saying that 10 times fast. Story time. The twin cities of Thiar and Thior are under siege from a powerful vampire infused with the might of a re-emerging god of destruction. Beaten and bloody, our would-be heroes battle their way through the chaos as hordes of enemy forces scale the city walls and lay waste to the bridges spanning the river that divides the cities. Amidst these bridges lies the heart of the enemy's plan, a small island with a newly constructed temple to the goddess Eldath, the Mother of Waters. Our party arrives just in time to witness a growing mass of darkness emerging from the steps of the temple entrance, threatening to swallow the gathered clergy whole. From that darkness, he rises. The source of devastation ravaging the cities, cursing the waters and bringing ruin to one of the last bastions of civilization left in the wake of the night without 7 days. Langston, or whatever dark force now drives his hollowed corpse. At the sight of him, a totem flies from Delaney, the cleric's bag, a small statuette depicting a figure one side beautiful and elven, the other a mischievous goblin. A depiction of a goddess no longer remembered by mortals, for all those who once worshipped have long since perished. But whatever semblance of a divine being yet resides within this trinket harbors only a near, animalistic desire to rid the world of the dark force that now stands before them. Time slows around Delaney as she manages to snatch the totem before it would fling itself toward the enemy. In that instant, her mind is accosted by visions of every conceivable future this conflict could bring about. Who would emerge victorious? Would her brother, Kieran, take revenge on the vampire that turned him? Or would her best friend Amelie's avenge her own death, and in doing so learn just what or who brought her back? Perhaps Welkin, the axe-wielding mountain of a man desperate to save the city in hopes of protecting Dr. Silas, for whom he was beginning to fall for. Or would it be Welkin's brother, Hollister, an arcane scholar whose mind was slowly being twisted by some other malevolent force residing within his very dagger? Beyond these scant few victories lay far more outcomes ending in disaster. As Delaney stood enraptured by these visions, both Amelie's and Hollister broke free from this temporal miasma, each fueled by forces beyond themselves. Arrows and bolts of arcane force screeched through the air, decimating Langston's form. The stillness of time exuded by the totem had made him an easy target, though through the gaps and tears left in the wake of such an assault, only darkness seeped out. The smallest peek at what truly lay beneath the flesh. In the final moments his physical form could muster, straining against the unimaginable forces threatening to burst forth, Langston turned his head toward Delaney.
Remember, you're dead.
With those final words, his corporeal form relinquished, unleashing a wave of destructive energy capable of erasing the small island our party stood upon. The totem, whether at the behest of Delaney's pleas or by its own needs from the party, spirited them all away mere moments before they too would be caught in the shockwave. In a brilliant flash where once cracked cobblestone pressed against their feet, now only knee-deep stagnant bog water filled their boots. They were all safe, for the moment. Though the same could not be said for the city. Hollister stood amidst the reeds of the bog, a mixture of shock and anger welling within. The serpent spirit that inhabited his dagger had not simply lent him strength in that final moment, but possessed his body in a desperate attempt to achieve its own goals. This did not sit well with him. Perhaps the gentle musings in his ear all this time had not been for his benefit, but to prime him as a vessel. Sheathing the dagger, he trudged toward dry ground near the base of a tree. Something ground at his ankle from within his boot as he walked, and upon sitting on the gnarled roots of the tree, he removed his boot to find a small piece of debris that must have flown from a nearby building during the blast. He looked around at his companions, all of them run ragged by the hours spent defending the cities. If this bog they had found themselves in was the same bog he had heard rumors of Fae wandering through, they would not find rest here. We need shelter, he thought. Somewhere secure to collect ourselves. The thought suddenly struck him. A spell he had been working on since the days he and Welkin had fled their home city of Andoran and were forced to camp in the woods. A spell to bring a sliver of homely comfort to their travels. And this small fragment of limestone, a sliver of a place once called home to many, would serve as the final catalyst to complete the spell. On the very mound he stood upon, Hollister lost himself in the arcane ritual as the rest of his companions allowed the reality of their present situation to sink in. After 10 long minutes, a limestone tower sprang into existence amidst the darkness of the bog, its angular edges standing in stark contrast to the twisted trees. Wearily, the party filed inside. As they sat within the warmth of the tower, contemplating all that had transpired on this long night, one thought couldn't help but creep into Delaney's mind. Did Langston say Y-O-U-R or Y-O-U-R-E? That's a little snippet from the D&D campaign I'm actually a player in, where we had our first face-to-face encounter with the story's main antagonist. Right, so back to what we're doing with all this fire clay. Much like what will be, spoilers, tackling in episode 29 of Eisenholm, we're going to be putting together a new beehive ceramics kiln. So while in Eisenholm it's mainly to continue fleshing out the workshop, on Rusty Gears here, we're going to have a very specific use for it in regards to this tent tower idea. I want those new cream bricks, and I think they look good with limestone. And while we do have the Bricklayers mod on this server, it's going to go through a few growing pains, as it's already doing, now that we're in 1.20. There was a lot of changes to ceramics, and that's it's kind of thrown that whole mod for a bit of a loop. Now luckily there's a lot of effort being put into getting it all sorted out, but for the moment I'm going to stick with the vanilla brick blocks. Now in comparison to the Bricklayers cream bricks, the grout lines on the vanilla cream bricks are just a little bit darker, and I feel like that fits a bit better for the color tone of this build. Huh. Vanilla cream. Well, now I've gone and made myself hungry. Alright, so with our bricks finished firing, I'm going to stack them up here while I get the rest of what's we're going to need. And since I've already recorded a bit more of an in-depth walkthrough of how to build one of these kilns for the next episode of Eisenholm, once again, spoilers, I'm just going to make this description brief. So, along with 55 blocks of either fire clay brick or refractory brick and 9 grate blocks, you're going to want 3 iron hatch doors, a kiln door consisting of 4 iron, meteoric iron, or steel nails and strips, 4 iron rods, and 12 bricks of the same type as the body of the kiln. They can be different, but you know, consistency? So while I'm waiting for this click whime. Okay. Oh. Blippers. So, while I'm waiting for this quicklime to finish so I can slap some bricks together with mortar, I've been using some of the rusted iron blocks pillaged from the BetterRuins manor to make support pillars. Wouldn't want a flying kiln. I don't know if the HOA takes kindly to graviturgy magic. I've started with the designs I've already got saved in the Chisel Tools portfolio for the columns. And I'm just gonna add a little more angularity. Yeah, I think that looks good. Now, I may have made a little too much mortar, but that's okay. I'm sure someone will find a use for it eventually. Now for this little guy here... I put the door too low. Let's get these picked up, put together a floor to work with. Away with you, you misplaced door, you. I do. There we go. Now we've got a platform to work with. There we go. That's proper. Now I just need to put together the rest. Arise, my creation, for thou art complete. And let's clean up underneath a little bit. Now that we've got a bit more room, we're going to want a happy little cage to put the fuel we'll be firing in here. If you're mainly burning wood, you don't really need sides to contain anything, but it's a good idea, especially if you end up putting any coal in there to fire things quicker. Has a tendency to spill. For a finishing touch, we're going to need a little staircase. And I don't think I saved that shape to the portfolio. Okay, from scratch it is. There we are. Beautiful.
And with a dash of such elegant rust.
With completion of the kiln behind him, our hero bravely set forth, venturing through deserts, distractions, and dark wilderness in search of enough blue clay to fill the pit kiln to the brim with bricks. When I get the words wrong, got time to dig up the blue clay.
3 entire blue clay deposits later, we have enough. Now to pack the kiln floor to ceiling. You gotta make sure not to overfill the center stack. From what I've heard, it doesn't like anything blocking the inside of the chimney. Now, don't mind that the cream bricks are lacking texture here. That's a conflict with Bricklayers, and it's being worked on, like I said. Now, I don't really have any particular plans for these redwood quarter logs, so firewood they go. Then we just stack them up, light them up, and let it get to firing. Now that the bricks are cooking, the next step is going to be to gather the main material for our tower. While I've got a good bit of limestone cobble, I feel like that's going to be a bit loud of a texture for what I'm going for, so let's go quarry some regular stone. And what better place to do that than the same spiral staircase we've already been pilfering materials from? Ooh, polished stone.
Look at that. Them's borax in them thar hills. I'm sure someone will find a use for this. What am I gonna use it for? Laundry? Ugh. Cleanliness? Couldn't be me.
Okay, well, that was way quicker than any of those clay tracks. Onward, back to home. Oh, the bricks are done. Ah, just look at that beautiful textureless red glow. We're gonna need tongs. I hope this won't crash me. Oh, okay, good. It's just a texture issue. The taste is fine. That should be enough brick blocks, so I'm just gonna stack the rest here in the office until we find another use for them. Okay. Well, our spell components are prepared. Let's begin the ritual. Commence the time lapse. There we are. Look at this. This is a pretty nice looking tent. Now, in terms of a tent, it's not exactly tentish. I might make this window jut out just a little bit and probably not have it be a window, but might have this side be a little bathroom. We have, you know, some little stains going down the wall, you know, as you do. As you do. But we'll get to that later. Maybe. We've got a little balcony here that goes up to the second floor. So first we've got the first floor here. I made this into a chiseled door. We do have to crouch to go in, so it's very old style, kind of very short door. But I don't really mind that. Gives it a little bit of character. And the interior still needs to be done. This is all going to become kind of chiseled decor and then turned into decorative chests. So all of these walls will become storage, or at least most of them will be. So we've got the majority of the blocks on the floors here free for that, so you might as well use them. Now if we just head on out through our little door and up the stairs, crouch through onto our second floor. We've got some nice aged wood floors here. And I do need to make a little ladder in probably this corner here that'll go up and then create the roof. Just gonna have to. Because then from here we have our battlements, really. And this block here is at height 7 of the entire structure. Oh, wow. Was that redwood there before? That thing's massive. Whoa. Okay. But anyway, whoop, get through the door there. If those get to be a little annoying, I might make them a little bit taller just so we can walk right on in. But right now they are just 2 blocks. And then right here we've got the cobblestone. That's the bottom of our third block going up, as you can kind of see right there. But I think what we really need to do is give this a good old test. I made a secondary open door there. This is one I was using to copy the open shape onto the other doors. But as I'm trying to say here, we should build the actual tent bag so that we can actually get ourselves a tent. Do I have reeds or rope anywhere else? Well, let's take a look at the empty tent bag here. So we're going to need 4 rope, 4 sticks, and a bolt of plain cloth. We've got our 4 rope, our 4 stick. Do I have any linen? Stick, a cloth, a bolt of plain cloth. Excellent. Now we're just going to place these old sticks here, place these ropes here. It seems it doesn't really matter what the orientation of it is, whether it's sticks in the corners or rope in the corners. It all seems to work. And here we've got our empty tent bag. Let's give it a try. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I hope this lantern will come with it. So, if we just close the door and... Oh! It's packed tent bag. Okay, we'll just... Boop! Oh, that's so cool! Oh, and everything just works, and it's... Oh, this is neat. I like this. Oh, what if I'm outside? Oh, it still works. It still works. Boop. This is like Christmas morning. You know how this is going to change our adventures? Our pack rat ways will suddenly be feasible once I add in all of the decorative chests, that is. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves just yet. I know this might be a bit of a shorter episode, but there was a lot of time spent chiseling this out, designing this build, and putting it all together. As well as all those trips out there for clay. So I think with our tent tower mostly all put together, that might be a good place to call this episode here. It's a good achievement. There's a little bit more detail to be done in there, but I think over time, we're going to get it looking the way we want and filled with enough storage. I'm going to need to go grab a whole bunch of copper. I need to make a whole boatload of nails and strips, and I really don't want to be pilfering too much from the community storage. As I've stated a couple times in this series, I don't want to necessarily just be a taker. I'm a giver. That can be misinterpreted. Oh well. So while the sun sets over that mountain in the horizon there, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And a special shout out to all of our channel members. You're all the greatest. Thank you so much for your support. And I'll hopefully at some point have a lot more time to be hopping onto this server and into Eisenholm. It's a balancing act between the two, you know? Just takes time. But that's okay. Because time spent in this game is always worth it for me, so I'm okay with that either way. So I'll catch you next time when we work on the interior of this. Probably work on the interior of the bar a little bit, and maybe, just maybe, if we're lucky, if we're good, we'll get a roof on our actual house. Only if we're good. And then we get ice cream. Okay, I'll see you later. Have fun. Bye-bye. Woo! What if instead of around the side, I put the toilet right above the front door? Would that be too gross? Would I hate walking through it?